The Crucible station orbited Proxima Centauri at a distance that would have incinerated any conventional spacecraft. Jennifer Nakamura stood before the observation window, her reflection ghosting over the star's roiling surface. She had spent 3 years designing the stellar compression array. And now, watching the chromosphere pulse with barely contained fury, she wondered if humanity had finally reached too far. Core temperature is holding at 15.2 million Kelvin, Kievan Tors reported from his station, his fingers dancing across holographic displays that painted his face in shades of amber and blue. The resonance pattern is stable. Jennifer didn't respond immediately. She was watching the mathematical models overlay the actual star, watching reality bend to human will in ways that violated every instinct evolution had given her species. The Crucible wasn't designed to study stars, it was designed to break them. The Varathi had arrived 6 months ago, their ships materializing at the heliopause like wounds in spacetime. They were old, so old that they remembered when the first stars had formed, when the universe was young and full of possibility. They had watched 1,000 civilizations rise and fall, had seen species master fusion, crack neutron stars, and dance around black holes. But they had never seen anyone attempt what humanity was attempting. "Your species is young," Counselor Threxus had said during the first contact, its form shifting between states of matter as if physical consistency was beneath it. "You have barely left your cradle world. This is beyond you." Jennifer had smiled then, the same smile she wore now. That's what they said about controlled fusion, about faster-than-light travel, about everything we've ever done. The Varathi didn't understand humanity's relationship with impossibility. They saw barriers. Humans saw challenges. They calculated risk. Humans calculated reward. And when Jennifer had proposed the Stellar Severance Project, when she had stood before the United Earth Council and explained how they could split a star's core, harvest its energy in ways that would power human civilization for 10,000 years, the Varathi had called it madness. Kievan cleared his throat, pulling Jennifer back to the present. "The Varathi observer is requesting another audience." "Tell Threxus I'm busy." "I already did. It says this is urgent." Jennifer sighed and turned away from the window. The observation deck was a cathedral of technology, all gleaming surfaces and pools and conduits that channeled enough energy to power old Earth 100 times over. In the center, a holographic projection showed the star's interior structure, layers upon layers of fusion reactions, each one carefully mapped and monitored. Threxus materialized on the communications platform, its form settling into something vaguely humanoid, a courtesy, Jennifer knew, though an unnecessary one. The Varathi had no true shape, existing partially in dimensions humans could barely conceptualize. "Dr. Nakamura," Threxus said, and there was something in its harmonics that suggested genuine distress. "You must stop this experiment. Our calculations show a 34.7% probability of catastrophic stellar collapse." "Our calculations show 12.3%, Jennifer replied calmly. "And we've accounted for quantum fluctuations in the photosphere that your models don't include. You are manipulating forces that govern the universe before your species learned to make fire." Threxus's form flickered with agitation. "The stellar compression array will destabilize the radiative zone. The pressure waves will propagate through the convective zone at precisely the frequencies we've designed," Kievan interrupted, pulling up a new display. "We've run this simulation 14,000 times, Counselor. We know what we're doing." Threxus turned its attention to Kievan, and Jennifer saw him suppress a shiver. The Varatha's regard felt like standing beneath the weight of geological time. "You are Kievan Tors, the youngest chief engineer in human space exploration history, 28 years old." "29 next week," Kievan said with forced lightness. "I am 472 million of your years old," Threxus said quietly. "I have witnessed the death of galaxies. I have seen civilizations that made your greatest achievements look like children playing with stones, and I am telling you with the certainty of eons, this will fail. Jennifer stepped forward, placing herself between Kievan and the Varathi. Then why are you still here? Why not leave if you're so certain? Threxus's form rippled, colors shifting through spectrums human eyes couldn't fully process. Because when you fail, someone will need to contain the damage. Someone will need to prevent your broken star from sterilizing this entire stellar neighborhood. We won't fail, Jennifer said. Your confidence is remarkable, Threxus observed, and terrifying. The communication ended, leaving Jennifer and Kievan alone with the humming machinery and the burning star beyond the walls. You think we're crazy, don't you? Kievan asked after a moment. The Varathi, the other species, they all think we're insane for trying this. Jennifer returned to the window, pressing her palm against the transparent aluminum. Even through the radiation shielding and magnetic deflectors, she could feel the star's heat, a promise of the power they were about to unleash. Every species that survives long enough develops the same cautious wisdom, she said. They learn the universe's rules, they understand the limits, and they live within them. They become safe. And we don't. We can't afford to. Jennifer pulled up the stellar model, expanding it until the star's core dominated the display. Earth is overpopulated. Our colonies are straining. We need energy, real energy, not the trickle we get from fusion plants and solar arrays. We need the power to push further, to terraform worlds, to reach beyond this tiny corner of space. Kievan nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting the data streams. Commence final sequence. Commence final sequence. The crucible came alive. Resonance generators spun up, creating gravitational waves that rippled through the star's interior like sound through water. Magnetic field manipulators, each one the size of a city, adjusted the stellar dynamo, tweaking the convection patterns that had remained unchanged for 4 billion years. Jennifer watched the numbers cascade across her displays, core temperature rising, pressure differential increasing, the star's fusion rate climbing as they compressed the core, forcing hydrogen nuclei together with unprecedented efficiency. Threxus was right about one thing, Kievan said, his voice tight with concentration. This is unprecedented. No one has ever done this. That's the point, Jennifer replied. The star began to change. On the holographic display, they could see the core compressing, density climbing to levels that should have triggered a supernova. But the resonance array held, channeling the excess energy into carefully designed vortices that spun it off into the collection matrices. Energy output is at 340% of baseline, Kievan reported. Collectors are charging. We're doing it, Jen. We're actually doing it. Jennifer allowed herself a smile. Around them, the station systems hummed with captured stellar energy, enough power flooding into the storage banks to run human civilization for a year from just these first few seconds. Then the alarms began. Pressure spike in Sector 7. Kievan's hands flew across his controls. The radiative zone is showing anomalous convection patterns. Compensate with the northern array, Jennifer ordered, her own fingers already moving. Increase resonance frequency by 0.3 Hz. That's outside safety parameters. Do it. The star bucked against their controls like a living thing. In the holographic display, Jennifer could see convection cells forming where none should exist, could see pressure waves racing toward the photosphere at speeds that made her breath catch. For 3 seconds, she thought they had lost. For 3 seconds, she saw what Threxus had seen, the star tearing itself apart, the wave of radiation and stellar matter that would sterilize everything within a light year. Then Kievan's adjustments took hold. The resonance arrays found their harmony, and the rogue convection cells collapsed, their energy channeled into the collection matrices. The pressure waves dissipated, spreading harmlessly through the star's outer layers. Stable, Kievan breathed. System stable, core compression holding at optimal levels. Jennifer realized she had been holding her breath. She exhaled slowly, watching the displays normalize, watching the their broken star, settle into its new configuration. The core was compressed to unprecedented density, fusion reactions proceeding at rates that made it burn twice as bright as before. And all that excess energy, all that impossible power, was flowing into human hands. Energy collection is at 600% of baseline and climbing, Kevin reported, wonder creeping into his voice. At this rate, we'll fill the primary storage banks in 6 hours. Jennifer opened a channel to Earth, to the council chambers where humanity's leaders were waiting. This is Crucible Station, stellar severance successful. The star is broken and stable. We have unlimited power. The response was instantaneous. Cheering, celebration, the sound of a species that had just guaranteed its survival for millennia to come. Threxus appeared on the communications platform again, but this time it said nothing. It simply stood there, its form flickering with what Jennifer had learned to recognize as profound shock. "You were right about one thing, Counselor," Jennifer said quietly. "This was unprecedented. No one had ever done this before," she smiled. "But someone had to be first." The Varathi vanished without responding, but Jennifer knew it would return. They all would, the Varathi, the Korath, the Silurian collective, all the old species who had learned to live within the universe's limits. They would study what humanity had done, would analyze the broken star and the power it generated, and they would understand something new about the young species from Earth. Humans didn't break rules because they didn't understand them. They broke rules because they understood that rules could be broken. Kevin joined her at the window, and together they watched the star burn. Their star, burning exactly as they had designed it to burn, bleeding power into human civilization's veins. "What's next?" Kevin asked. Jennifer pulled up a star chart, showing the hundreds of stars within human reach, each one a potential source of unlimited energy, each one waiting to be broken. "Everything," she said. "Next is everything."